Psychological trigger number 5 is called contrast or anchoring, and this was confirmed again by Tversky and Kahneman in 1974 in a study that's called Judgment Under Uncertainty, Heuristics, and Biases. So this one is a very, very interesting study. So step number 1, they gave people a random starting point. So participants were asked questions like, is the percentage of African countries in the UN higher or lower than X? And X was actually generated randomly by a spinning wheel. So for example, they had a spinning wheel, let's say it landed on 10, and then they asked people, is the percentage of African countries in the UN higher or lower than 10? And people were split into different groups, so each of them got a different number from that spinning wheel. So for example, some people saw a low number, let's say 10, and other people saw a high number, let's say 65. So everyone knew the numbers were random because they were literally spun in a wheel and they had no informational value before this. So step number 2, they asked them for an estimate. So after people answered higher or lower than the number they saw in the spinning wheel, they asked them, what do you think is the percentage of the African countries in the UN? The crazy thing that they found is that despite people knowing the anchor was random, which was basically generated by a spinning wheel, people exposed to lower anchors gave much lower estimates, and people exposed to higher anchors gave much higher estimates. So for people who got, for example, a 10 on that spinning wheel, they were more likely to give an answer that is closer to 10. So for example, they said 8 or 13, and people who are exposed to higher anchors, let's say for example 30 or 40, they were more likely to give numbers that are closer to those random numbers. This is absolutely mind-blowing, and even experts were actually affected by this. So the anchor didn't determine the answer, but it pulled judgment towards it.